Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing the topic that is tax box basically. So one of the person basically told that tax box equal to 1,000 cities, which was not tested basically. That why basically it was not tested, that basically we don't know. But it was tested not. That is 100% sure. And why basically it was not, sorry, how basically Sunil Ramakrishna told that 100% basically it was not tested. That also basically we have given in the data basically. So one of the person told that the data was not tested, that was 100% sure. But here the question is the if condition for loop basically, that was basically somebody was hijacking that basically, or basically it was that basically automatically that was happening. That possibilities are also there, because this thing basically many less people knows. But hijacker basically was hijacking that basically. But it was which hijacker basically? That was question basically. If condition basically, one of the person told the hijacking means what basically? In simple language basically we will see hijacking means what. So hijacking means controlling the taking the control. For example, banks are there. So USA basically lots of banks are there. India basically lots of banks are there. So they basically their banks basically can be hijacked. How? Until basically you don't have the source code access basically, that can't be hijacked. But lots of people say that, bhai, I have created DLA, I have created EXE, then how they can access? But here the question is, when basically the power supply basically is getting passed at that time basically they can do the hijacking from that power supply. But that many less people can able to do, who basically have the exact roadmap data basically. And what is exact roadmap data? That we have already taken. So one of the person told that basically that connects to single house also. Hijacker basically access the each and every single house and do the hijacking. Then one of the person told that exactly basically. So how that possibilities are there basically? How basically hijacker hacks the each and every condition? Hijacker basically how access the conditions? So one of the person told that to access the conditions basically he required the data basically. He basically requires the data, and the data is blood cells energy basically. Each and every people's blood cells energy, and who are basically the authorized person, who are the authorized person. So one of the person told me, yeah, basically exactly basically we are not getting actually what you told basically. So one person told that if I want to enter the house basically, what is the possibility? So possibilities are keys are there. If you have the keys, then you can access. But basically if there is a camera, then he basically will able to track basically that this person basically enter the area. But in this basically what is the way basically? In hijacking basically what they do? They're doing hijacking only. But in this basically the log files are there basically. But here basically they clears the log file also. Here basically they clears the log file also. So one of the person told that log file also basically they clears. So up to this level basically the hijacking basically they do. Up to this level basically they do the hijacking. So they basically access the person's body also. For example, one person told that if I want to access any company's ID, basis, assume that basically I joined one company and I want to access my iCard. So what is the option basically? One of the person told that card is there. Then another person told that face mapping is there. Third person told that the thumb basically you have to display. Few people say that finger basically displays in the machine. So these all are the access, right? If you have this access, Then only basically you can access the stuff. So same way basically here in hijacking also happens same thing basically. But here that happens through power supply. That is the power supply basically. So another person told that through power supply basically the access happens. And power supply means you have to enter the if conditions. And if condition means 1,000 cities. So that person basically hijacks the each and every individual house. If condition means what actually? If condition means 1,000 cities. But within the 1,000 cities, individual areas basically are there. Individual areas basically are there. So he have to access that basically. Then only basically the hijacking is possible. So you can just imagine basically. So another person told that hijacking basically happens this way basically. So that's very dangerous basically. So hijacking happens, text box is equal to 1,000 cities. Here basically, if anybody wants to access the text box data, then he will access according to that areas. If you want to access the if condition, then basically he hacks according to the area. If anybody wants to access the body basically, for example, anybody wants to access the neck of mine, so he has the data, he captures the data basically. Then only basically he can do that. Basically. Otherwise, basically possibilities are not basically to access the neck or access the head basically. Why? Because he has taken the data basically. So one of the person told that how they basically might be doing here basically. So one of the person told that I will take one example basically. Assume that basically uh, US government basically told that basically we don't want tax basically. They basically taken just now decision basically. So that means somebody is watching this video basically. My body video basically from USA White House basically. Otherwise basically how he taken the this decision basically. How basically he's taken this decision basically. Because this thing basically nobody knows basically. If conditions basically, even basically if you say that basically American government, can you please tell this what actually Sunil want to say? Nobody in America basically can able to tell this. Only few Russian group basically, they are basically experts in this, and they basically gets in crores of amount basically. They are basically having in big amount basically. They only basically know. Even basically American group basically many might be knowing basically because they are running the computers. That means they might be knowing. Few people might be knowing this thing, which I want to say. Just now basically I told if condition equal to 1,000 cities. If I want to enter into the east through power supply, the physical access is required, and that physical access means 1,000 cities, and within the 1,000 cities, basically the set of areas. Basically. So one of the person told that up to this level knowledge, basically who know this, they only basically can do this. But it's very difficult to understand only basically what I want to say basically that's very difficult no basically nobody basically the normal programmer basically I'm telling you basically number one programmer of the application developers basically like .NET Java they basically can't understand this. It's not possible to understand basically. So I am telling you basically in this world basically few thousands of people might be knowing this, and from these thousands of people basically 70% of people might be at satellite basically. They might be doing programming from satellite. They might be managing this everything from satellite basically. But their people basically are there in Earth planet, few hundreds of. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more.